we'll get started now. First thing is, I want y'all, everybody, we're gonna do a little warm up. All right. So the warm up is a brain teaser. All right. So here we go. We're gonna say, what is the next letter in this sequence?
What? I don't have a picture.
What is the next letter in W-I-T-N-L-I-T?
It's recording.
Excuse me 1 second, Rashid. Can everybody please put their phones on mute? The phone or your computer so we don't get any background noise. Thank you.
All right. So yeah, what was the next letter in this sequence? Anybody figure it out? Give you a couple minutes.
Q. I don't see anything.
All right. So well, oh, you can't see my screen?
No, we can see it. We can see your screen. Everybody else can. I don't know what's wrong with your phone, brother Saeed, but I can see it.
All right, let me check it out.
Matter of fact, I'll put a quick time.
Yes.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, you had to swipe over. I'm about to tell you to swipe over. All right.
Oh, you saw the brain tease or you
No, we can see it. We can see it. So you said what's the next letter? W-I-T-N-L-I-T. What's the next letter?
Yeah, in that sequence.
W, right?
Is it W? Why? Why you say W? All right. Yeah.
Is it a recurrent sequence?
What's the next letter after T?
I'm gonna say it's gonna be another N.
Another N. All right, got another N on the board. We got, come on, somebody else.
I'm gonna say it's an L.
W.
I'm gonna say it's an L.
You said M?
L.
L, okay. All right. All right, y'all give up? Right, you say.
I'm gonna say we give up, man. We give.
Y'all give up. The next letter in that sequence is S.
Wow.
I get it.
Now look at it. W is for what? I is for is. T is the. N is next. L is letter. Next I is N. Then you got T for this. And then S would be. So it's the first letter of each word.
Interesting.
You see it?
Oh,
Right in front of your face.
Right in front of your face.
Right up top.
But I like to do this a lot with the kids at school because I want them to try to, really think. Think about things and think outside the box. All right. All right. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to go to a quick video. All right. Because I want you to see this.
oh, shit. Okay.
All right. This is something my brother sent me, but I want you to check it out. This is from 2016.
Hey, what are you doing?
Huh?
Jaywalking, stop right there!
What?
Stop right there! Stop! What? No! Stop! No! Get down! Get down right now! Get down on the ground! You are resisting arrest! No, cooperate! Cooperate!
I can't breathe.
Don't you know jaywalking is against the law? It's a federal offense! What are you doing? Don't you move! Don't you touch me! I'm gonna back up! This is Officer Shooter responding to a request for backup. What seems to be the problem here? This man was jaywalking. All right, stand back. Let me handle this. Son, put your hands up right now. Son, I'm asking you to put your hands up. Son, if you do not put your hands up, I'll be forced to use this firearm to dispose of your threat. Son, are you listening to me? Don't you play dumb, son. He's reaching for... All right, you asked for it, motherfucker.
Now, that was a video from 2016 done by a independent cartoonist on YouTube. But you can see how that resembles a lot of what happened with Brother Floyd, all right? With the choking and then the use of excessive force, okay? So this just shows you that this has been going on for so long that, you know, it's normalized, okay? It's definitely normalized. But now let's take a step, and we want to go back to the slide show because so anonymous quote, it says, in order to combat the system, we must understand the system first. How many people agree with that? All right. So, you know, we got to really take time out and look at what this system is doing. You know, like I said before, a lot of people think that they know this system, but they don't. I've been studying it for over 20 years, and each day I find something new. All right. Quote here from Albert Einstein. It says, the definition of insanity. Albert Einstein is credited with the saying, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results. And that's what we do in the African-American community. We kind of do the same things.
Excuse me for 1 second, Rashid. Mr. D, oh, there you go. He muted it. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, we do the same thing. Think about every time we have one of these killings, we get out, march, or bring the bears out and all of that kind of stuff, right? So it's like we just continuously repeat the same thing and we want different results. But now in order to get a different result, we have to study the system, understand the system, and then come up with a better plan, okay? All right. And one of the big things in our community that we really don't pay enough attention to is the word entertainment, okay? And entertainment is the, wait a minute, I kind of got off of my slide. Entertainment is really big. This is a really a big weapon of the system, all right? And what is entertainment? The act of entertaining, agreeable occupation for the mind, diversion and amusement, okay? So the entertainment world is used to distract us from really the big things that's going on, okay? Says something affording pleasure, diversion or amusement, especially a performance of some kind, all right? And when we go down to the next slide I have here for us, it says that in the Quran, it says, what is the life of this world but amusement and play? But verily the home in the hereafter, that is life indeed, if they but knew. You know, so, you know, we're like I said, we're too distracted, we're too entertained. And, you know, we're watching television and the sports and all of that stuff is nothing but diversion, okay? So that you can't see what's really going on in this system.
Brother Rashid, I'm not seeing your screen no more.
You're not seeing the screen?
No.
All right, let me see something. I think I hit something. Can you see it now?
Yep, it's back.
It's back. All right, good. All right. So this is from the Bible, and this is from Proverbs. It says, "Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways." Envy not thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. And that's one of the things that we do. We envy this oppressor, and we follow all of his ways. Okay. A lot of the things that they put on for us on television and, in the media and, the music and all of these things, we're following after these people. I'll give you an example. In the television show, it was a television show with what's the girl? Carrie, what was that? Carrie. But she worked with the president. And she had an affair with the
Kerry Washington.
Kerry Washington, right? What was the name of the show again?
Scandal.
Scandal, right? So now in this show, Scandal, you have an adulteress that's as the hero, okay? And this is one of the things that our Creator has told us to stay away from, because it destroys a family, okay? Just like fornication, opens you up to disease, unwanted pregnancies, and all of these things. The laws that God has given us is a armor to protect us from some of the stuff that's going on out here, But the more and more we step away from the Creator's guidance, we get caught up, things become much harder in our lives. All right. Now I have as a note on here, it says envy denotes to a longing to possess something awarded to or achieved by another. Our oppressor has given us everything upon arrival in this country, yet we have never questioned what he has given us. For example, diet, religion, etc. He is never going to give us things to truly uplift us because he wants us to stay oppressed. All right. So now the next slide is this picture, and it's a beardless image of Christ. And this was drawn by the early Christians in the 300 AD in the Roman catacombs. And as you can see, all the people, this is supposed to be Jesus and his disciples. And this was found in a cave in Rome. But you can see they're all depicted as what? Black. Okay. So these people are controlling our perception.
Brother Rashid, I'm sorry. Can you push play on your PowerPoint so it can get big?
Okay, yeah, let me get that. Seems like every time I hit something, what you going? I got it.
It's saying it's not connected.
Elmer.
All right. So when you see
said Homer.
This is supposed to be the early drawing of Christ.
I'm getting out the room because I gotta.
Depicted.
Brother David, go on mute, please, Brother David.
Oh, I thought I was. I'm sorry. I just got a new computer. I apologize. I thought I muted it. My apologies.
But this is a depiction from the early Christians in the caves in Rome. Why don't we know these things? Okay, because they're keeping these things from us because they don't want to do anything to uplift us. They only want us to be oppressed. All right. So here's another picture. This is a cave. This is a coin in Rome, and this is an ancient coin, and it's depicting Christ on there. So if you see it, look at the nose, look at the hair. Okay, this is proving the fact that he was Black. Okay, so like I said, a lot of times they do things to kind of try to whitewash things and make us seem as if we're marginal, okay? But now let's go on. Let's move on to my next video. I'm going to show you a video now, real quick. All right, and this is a very, very interesting video. This is what you. Oh, here you go. All right, so this is from a news station. All right, and let me show you the games that they play on these news stations. All right, in the media.
A busy night in. New this morning at 4:30, more gunfire has capped a busy night in the city, including the shooting death of a 16-year-old boy.
And that gunman remains on the loose right now. This shooting happened just before 10 o'clock in the 3700 block of South Albany. Police say a 16-year-old boy was shot to death in a drive-by. The victim's identity has not yet been released.
Meantime, 2 teenagers are wounded on the city's south side. It happened at East 74th as an 18-year-old man and 16-year-old girl were hit while standing on the sidewalk. The male's in good condition while the girl's expected to recover. And kids on the street as young as 4 were there to see it all unfold and had a disturbing reaction.
No, I'm not scared of nothing.
When you get older, you gonna stay away from all these guns?
No.
No?
No.
What do you want to do when you get older?
I'm gonna have me a gun.
Because I live right here and I don't want none of my family members to get shot.
So what do y'all think about that? Is it the little boy talked about having a gun and being able to shoot people when he gets older? What do you think about that?
Was that his voice or was that a voiceover?
Okay. The little boy was saying that he would have a gun. He heard about a shooting. He said he would have a gun and he'll shoot people with his gun.
They're perpetuating a cycle.
Right. Okay.
And it's also for the white audience. Also for the white audience that was watching. For them, they're showing you. They're trying to portray that blacks are inherently violent.
Right.
And it even not just about the adults. It's from the kids.
Okay.
Yeah. My name is Anthony.
Go ahead, brother.
How you doing, y'all? I joined a little bit late, but I just want to say hi to everybody. Yeah, I think the same thing what the brother just said. Like that young brother already got in his mind that the way of life is the gun.
Right.
And it shouldn't be that way.
Okay. All right.
Real quick. I just feel like, what they always have a choice of what they want to broadcast and what they don't.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? So, at the end of the day, you know what I mean? They could have definitely left that out, you know what I mean, of the news, but they decided not to because they wanted to put a young, terribly young rather, black boy on there saying things like that. You know what I mean? So, that's what is really alarming. It's not alarming to me that he said it. You know what I mean? Because they're always going to, speak what they know in regards to their environment. However, I think it's really, really disgusting that they put that on the news when they didn't have to.
All right. Now let's continue.
Hey, can I ask?
Want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Roger something. Why do you think it was disgusting, or why did you find that to be surprising that they would do that?
You said, why would I find it surprising?
No, he asking me.
Oh, okay.
I don't find it surprising. You know what I mean? But I do find it disgusting. You know what I mean? Because, at this particular point, you know what I mean? You can ask a 4-year-old child anything, and you might get any type of answer, under the sun, based off of what he just watched on TV, based off of what he just saw, based off of what he, heard from an adult, or whatever the case may be. But broadcasting it, you know what I mean? Answer like that from such a young human being. You know what I mean, is just crazy because they have a choice on what they want to broadcast or not. You know what I mean? Like, case in point, not to take over, but case in point. You know what I mean? A lot of times we all watch internet, we all watch, the news at certain times, and what do they always show? They always show the ignorant black person, or and I'm not going to say ignorant black person, but they're going to show the black person that's making the most uneducated comments possible and put them on the news. They always do. You know what I mean? Then the next thing you know, it goes viral on the internet, and they still got us, looking like, you know what I mean, some damn, circus people out here. You know what I mean? Because they choose to air that type of stuff because they want to, portray us as ignorant and uneducated.
So,
you know what I mean?
So you're basically saying that they're trying to control our perception.
Correct.
Hello?
Can I add something to that too?
Right.
My name is David.
Hey, Dave.
And I apologize for being late.
Oh, no problem.
That was done for several reasons. Number one, it was done as a training piece for the officers right there. I see that, I told you so. And for the listening public, see, there you go. It starts right there with them as babies. That's what they do. And I've noticed also, right after that news clip, there will probably be one showing a white family in the suburbs or doing something positive, doing something nonviolent, and it's almost going to be like either before that clip or after that clip. They usually put something of that nature.
Okay. All right. So now let's finish the video though. All right. Let's finish saying what went on here.
That is very scary indeed. So far, no suspects are in custody.
Well, that's what I like to hear. You ain't.
Now, this is actually the whole footage. Okay. Now watch.
Scared of nothing. Damn. When you get older, you gonna stay away from all these guns?
No.
No?
No.
What do you want to do when you get older?
I'm gonna have me a gun.
You are? Why you want to do that? You know what happens?
I'm gonna be the police.
Okay, well then you can have one.
My first question is whether they had the parents' permission, of course. And then to hear that the boy aspires to be a police officer, and that's what he meant when he said, I'm going to have me a gun, and that they didn't include that is disturbing. As somebody who's a former journalist, like many past presidents of the NAACP, it's important to tell the whole truth, because when you tell half the truth, you're in effect lying.
It's new this morning at 4:30.
Now, what do y'all think about that?
Too. I'm not surprised at all, because it's like Malcolm X said, man, once the media shows that the black community is of violent nature, and they're showing you from the babies to the adults, they're talking about a shooting, and then they cut off the interview to show that a young boy is talking about a gun. Once they make us look like we're inherently violent, right, then anything and everything that happens in our community is validated in the eyes of the oppressor, because they like, well, listen, the cops got to do their jobs because they're inherently violent.
Right. But see, that's that control perception. They can edit things. They can do all kinds of stuff with this media. Okay. So
exactly. You know what? I am so glad. I'm so glad that you are showing this, because the media is extremely manipulated, and I talk about this a lot because I see the effect that it's having on the population as a whole. And Malcolm X did say that the media has a way of making the oppressors. How did the quote go?
It's making the innocent seem guilty and making the guilty innocent.
Right. And one of the things that I am so in tune in is that when I was in the hospital, I learned a lot, and that's why I say what's going on now. And I'll say it again, and I'm gonna keep preaching it until people understand the severity of what's going on. The media has a way of controlling people's thoughts, controlling people's action by manipulating the truth. And like the guy said, if you manipulate the truth, you are actually lying. Exactly. And the media does not tell the truth, and it perpetuates fear and anxiety in people, which distracts them from what is actually going on. And I'm glad that you brought up this this subject because it is definitely going on now, and it has been going on forever and ever. And for me, this COVID thing is a bunch of bullshit.
Oh yeah,
straight up bullshit.
We're gonna touch on COVID. Probably won't be able to do it today, but the next time the brothers allow me to present, we're gonna touch on that a lot. But let me ask you this, good brother. What's another name for a television show?
Tell lies visually.
But what's a word that they actually
programming.
A program, right? And a program is meant to encode certain ideas and beliefs into something, okay? And that's exactly what they're doing with this medium, with this television, with the television that you talk about. So
hello.
Yeah.
This is Gary. On one thing I want to add, which nobody has said yet, it's very true. The media can control anything that you see, but one of the things that's very troubling to me is that why is our community cannot set up understanding what structure is. Understanding meaning that you should not be influenced what somebody's telling you. You should know what's right and wrong. So I could tell you anything that I want on TV. Immediately you say, oh, you know what? I know this is not right. This is not correct. Okay. And what's lacking, because I am an educator, I am a teacher, and it's one thing, I do, I teach first graders, and one thing I try to structure with them is to set them down and get them to thinking of what's positivity and what's negativity. I mean, they're very smart. They can pick that up just from all the media that basically they should not be seeing.
Right.
Okay. Starting with television programs, commercials, cartoons, all these things. I mean, basically, if parents, and I can't necessarily blame kids. I have to say the parents even know what's right and what's wrong. Like what's troubling to me is why is a 4-year-old out outside that time of night? I mean, like theoretically, I'm not saying that, well, you know, it's totally wrong, but actually I kind of sort of, because if you control its structure, that's what we're talking about, structure. If you say, okay, you can do these type of things, okay, this is right, this is wrong, I wouldn't be impressed what a media shows me. But if you don't have structure, then you're going to choose what you think somebody's trying to influence you on.
But you know what, too, brother. The thing is that children do what they see, just
exactly.
Like adults do what they see.
Exactly.
And it's the television, the whole thing of the media and television. This is a scientific tool of indoctrination. They've studied different ways to capture the human mind for the long.
And so what you tie on is very key. Before there was 24 hours, 7 day a week television.
Right.
There were less problems. Right. In fact, until you travel, and I've had that chance, every time when I've traveled to major cities, and they look, especially like the Uber drivers or whoever, they look at my tag and they see where I'm coming from. Here's one of the key things used to kill me when I was living up in New York, and I go someplace like the Midwest. They say like, oh, you're from New York. We got cable. I know what's going on in New York. Well, back in the day when I was growing up, TV wasn't on 24/7. It was only about 3 channels, okay? And it was very censored without having censorship. Really.
Right.
And so therefore, you had to rely on your neighbor or your community to say like, what do you think? What do you think? Well, now it's so exponential. There is no community. The TV is your community.
Right.
It's the thing, what you say, going viral. And the thing is, when it goes viral, unless you really pay close attention and you're well educated, it's hard to disseminate what's really true and what's not.
Yep. And we're going to really get into this. We're going to really get into this. But let me show you this next clip, okay? This was something that was caught on one of the news casts, all right? I want you to see this real quick.
Hello,
is that he's really someone who got on stage, told you exactly what he was going to do, and then did it. And a lot of people, I think, in Washington, and a lot of, I think, intellectuals are saying, like, what's going on? This feels so uncertain. But for Trump supporters and the people who were, even some of the people who are skeptical of him, he's looking like he's getting stuff done.
Exactly. Right. And that's exactly what I hear. What Yamiche just said is what I hear from all the Trump supporters that I talk to who were Trump voters and are still Trump supporters. They go, yeah, you guys are going crazy. He's doing, what are you so surprised about? He's doing exactly what he said he's going to do.
Well, and I think that the dangerous, edges here are that he's trying to undermine the media, trying to make up his own facts, and it could be that while unemployment and the economy worsens, he could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think, and that is our job.
Yeah, if you look at the issue.
Now, did you hear what she said? Did y'all hear what she said?
She said it loud and clear. We can call what you think. I heard that, and she didn't hesitate.
No. She said her job is their job to control what people think, to control people's perception. And that's why we have to be so careful when we're watching these newscasts, when we're watching these television shows. The only way that you can watch it is analytically and critically, okay? Because they can play games through their media, okay? But now let me show you one thing.
Tell live vision. It's telling lies to your vision.
Exactly. Right. Telling lies to your vision. All right.
So as we think about the television, again, just especially in the times that we live in, social media isn't any different in terms of images that we are seeing, and sometimes we ourselves end up, whether it's retweeting or forwarding, the same kind of messaging, and sometimes even worse than.
Yeah, absolutely right. It's like spreading
on the television, and so.
Well, the funny part about, I do agree, because social media isn't any better. However, you see something on social media, you don't automatically always take it to the bank. It's more so like, is this Photoshop? Did somebody make this video? Is this real? Whatever the case may be. But if you see it on TV, it's like, if it makes it to TV, it's almost like, oh, okay, that is just factual. You know what I mean? So they tell you some bullshit on TV, and you're gonna take it to the bank because it made it to TV. If it makes bad, everything that they hear on the news, those people ain't doing nothing but reporting the BS that they heard. So you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I think we all gotta scrutinize that.
But what I want to reinforce about the gentleman, he hit the nail on the head. That's, again, educated. You're reinforced. You're trained to believe that. You're trained to believe that if it gets it that far, that it is the gospel.
True. And that's the thing. Many of our parents in the school system, they consume this. Remember, you are what you eat, or you are what you consume. And they consume a lot of the stuff that's on television and a lot of stuff that's on social media. And they think that this is, how we're supposed to live. They've been indoctrinated, okay? So it's very important for us to, like I said, understand the system, okay?
And Brother Rashid, can I say one thing real quick too?
Go ahead, good brother.
Like, for me personally, I think reality TV is what really damaged the world, because they say it's reality TV, but in all actuality, it's scripted.
Right.
So when people are looking at it, they're thinking that it's reality. And we have lost, as people, as humans, we have lost the ability to understand, like what you said earlier. We don't know the difference between entertainment and reality. Them putting that word on reality TV switch the game on how people believe what's real and what's fake. It's no more lines in the sand, what is real and what's fake.
Right. All right.
And I think with the social media is the same thing. And I agree, Roger. I think institutions have a greater responsibility and should be held more accountable for what they show, just like what Mr. Abdallah showed us here. They should have a greater responsibility. But a lot of times with social media and with what is being said about, sometimes as far as it's on a screen, we consume it sometimes as real, and we really don't draw the line on the sand to say, yeah, this may be somebody's opinion, or this may be somebody that has edited and has worked the message that they want to send. We consume it just like all of it is authentic and true, yet it's not.
Right. All right. So
you know what gave me a paradigm shift in my thinking? I read something that said you have to be some kind of fool to let your oppressors teach you anything.
Now.
And when I read that, that's when my whole thinking changed, and I started studying for myself, because my oppressor does not want me to know the truth. My oppressor wants me to remain ignorant. My oppressor does not want me to think critically. And once I read that, I started doing research on my own. And when I started doing research on my own, my whole perspective of life started changing. And that's when I realized that education is the most important thing that we can teach our children. Not indoctrination, but education.
Right. But it's funny, brother, because I think you might have come in a little late, because that was one of the quotes that I gave them from the scripture, from the Bible. And it says, envy not the oppressor and follow none of his ways. Okay. So we have to really start trying to follow the guidance of our Creator.
What was that again you just said?
Sorry
for interrupting you.
It says, it's a biblical verse that says, envy not the oppressor and follow none of his ways. Okay. So it's like, the more we stay in tune with the laws and the guidance of our Creator, the better we're off in life. So we bring a lot of problems to ourselves when we step away from that guidance. Look at how society has moved away from that guidance and how terrible things are now. The more and more we move away from God's guidance, the worse it gets for us. All right. But now let's move on, because I have a lot to show you. We might not be able to get through it all day.
It's all good, Brother Abdullah, because we'll do a part 2 next week, so no worries.
Okay, cool. Okay, all right. So we can take our time then. All right. So here we go. Here's our next one. All right. So we're going to look at the word program, and let me say this: the language is very important. Knowing the language is very important, because the thing is that these people, that's why they didn't want us to be able to read, all right? Because they didn't want us to know certain things, okay? But now, look at the word program. The word program means to insert instructions into a machine or apparatus, to cause to absorb or incorporate automatic responses, attitudes, or the like, to condition. So when you think about that automatic response, this is what that television program is trying to do. It's trying to get automatic responses, okay? It says, our parents programmed us to respect our elders. That's an example. And it says, for a program to set, regulate, or modify so as to produce a specific response or reaction, okay? So like I said, these words are very important. Let's look at the next one. The next word is indoctrinate. To instruct in a doctrine, principle, ideology, etc., especially to imbue with a specific partisan or biased belief or point of view, to teach or inculcate, to imbue with learning. Inculcate means to implant by repeated statement or admonition. Teach persistently and earnestly, usually followed by upon or in. To inculcate virtue in the youth to cause or influence someone to accept an idea or feeling. Think about it. Think about all of these music artists that's out. And it's first it was just the rapping that had the curse words and stuff like that in it. But now they're doing regular R&B songs that have, I mean, serious profanity in it, you know? And our kids, this is all they're listening to, a lot of them, you know? They're listening to Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion and Lizzo and, you know.
Girl, all of that, yeah.
You know, so they look up to these people as role models. And they spend more time with these forms of media, television, music, and all that, social media, internet, all of that stuff. They spend more time with that than they do with us, than their own parents. So that stuff has more of an influence on our children.
I wanted to say something about that.
Go ahead, good brother.
Going back to the entertainment thing.
Uh-huh.
I saw an actual video, and I know it's 100% true. When you talk about these rap stars are making millions and millions of dollars, literally, and the people that are paying the millions of dollars, I saw a report that truly clears that they've targeted certain key artists that are popular with the youth and are giving them total access because they want to do exactly what you're saying, to manipulate the kids, act like they're role models, make it sound like it makes sense. They are, and it's you name like almost the top ones that are on the list. These are the ones that are making those millions and millions of contracts. It's not everybody. It's a selective few. And they realized, they did a study and a survey to determine who they were going to pick. They were going to have the best chance to touch the masses. And so again, that goes back to what you're saying, programming, being indoctrinated, okay?
Right.
And again, what I said at the beginning is structure. The parents could easily say like, look, you can't listen to this. No, we're not having that. That doesn't mean kids cannot get to it. I'm not saying that. But if the parents don't put the structure in place and say like, no, or at least review what's being heard, okay? Well, there you go.
So think about this.
Can I piggyback on that right quick too?
Go ahead, good brother.
At this point in the game, gentlemen, the blame is not only on the parents. The blame is on the community at large, because with the internet, you could be a parent and tell them don't listen to it, but if you go back in the 80s, your parents probably said don't listen to War and Slave. In the 50s and 40s, they said don't listen to John Coltrane and Miles Davis. And guess what? The kids always find a way, no matter what era, to do exactly the opposite of what their parents told them to do, right or wrong. But this day, we're dealing with a multi-billion-dollar propaganda machine. And just because mom and dad say stop, I'm looking at somebody who's extra beautiful, glitz, glamour, all of those things, dressed up to feed every sense that I have. She's over-sexualized. She's twerking. I'm a young kid watching that or hearing the music, how she's going to suck on me and how she's going to put her vagina all over me. And you think I'm trying to hear what my mom say stop listening to? We got to be realistic. Like, I get it where we come from a moral perspective, saying, I'm mom, I'm dad, I'm telling you this, so you should do that. But realistically, there's no time in the history of man where a kid listened to their parents 100%. And I'll be the first one to admit I did not.
Right. But see, the thing is that we have to instill an internal control, an internal structure, as the other brother was saying, within our children, so that they can recognize these things for themselves and try to stay away from it, you know. But let me give you this little bit of information real quick, since we're on this right now. What is the logo for the Apple computer?
Apple.
Say that again.
Apple. A bitten apple.
A bitten apple. Okay. Now these people that design these things are occultists. Okay. They are occultists. And I have, serious evidence to prove to you of what I'm saying. But the people that designed the Apple computer were occultists. And what do you think the price was for the first Apple computer that was sold? That was sold.
$50.
No.
Nah, it was something crazy. It was like 10, 12,000, right? For the
No.
a person.
The first Apple computer that was put on sale.
$12,000.
Don't believe anything I say. Look it up for yourself. But it was $666.66.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yep, absolutely. Yep.
So you talking about all them sixes, 666, right?
But not only that, you got to think about the bitten apple.
Okay.
And
Okay.
the knowledge, the tree of knowledge. It goes back to the tree of knowledge. This is there's a connection there because you can go on that internet and you can find anything you want on that internet. Be it good or bad.
But see, you're going down the subliminal thing. You're
Right.
going about subliminal thing. It's right there, and you can't even see it, but you somehow touch upon it, and you get sucked right into it.
Yep. But you see, but that's the thing too. They deal a lot in, like I said, they've studied the human mind for a long time and how it operates. Okay. So
and that's true. The whole symbolism, the subliminal, everything you talk, even Disney got sixes in it.
Yeah.
And the guy that created Disney, he's an occultist. So it goes all the way back. And Disney, who do they always recruit? They recruit the young kids, just like you were saying, the young rappers, and they all later on had problems. They had mental breakdowns. They have this and that because they've been programmed, just like you said.
Also, they said that one of the music guy that was involved heavy in the music industry, he said they were called for a meeting. Okay, they went to this meeting. It was a lot of different execs there, and they said that they wanted to invest in private prisons. Okay, and what they wanted to do is have them push music. And
that supported that agenda,
right? To support their agenda, so they keep these jails filled, by showing these kids all these different criminal behaviors and having them do what they see, and then that way they can keep their prisons filled.
And the important thing that you mentioned earlier, which is being done on a negative scope, but could be done on a positive scope, is repetition.
Yep.
Being repetitive. You can be positively repetitive, but that never happens. We're always more negatively repetitive, therefore we're reinforcing.
But the thing is, repetition. See, they know that we learn through repetition. That's why they play those songs over and over again on the radio.
They desensitize.
And Brother Rashid, I say probably about, and I don't know if any of the brothers remember it, probably about 3 weeks ago, 3 or 4 man caves ago, I put up a video of the white guy talking about the marketing dollars that were used for black radio.
Yeah.
Asking them why are you guys able to play every other song on that radio is hypersexualized or talking about murdering each other?
Exactly.
The radio station, you're not hearing that on them other stations.
Exactly.
On the black station, it's all about murdering and us killing each other and having sex. That's it.
And drugs.
They use us to destroy us.
Exactly.
That's part of the agenda.
Oh, brother, you're hitting some stuff on the nose that we're definitely going to get to. All right. But now let me see. Let's move on for a quick second because I want you to see this next piece. All right. Now, this next piece that I'm going to show you. All right. This is a brother. Okay. And his name is, let's see if I could hear. Okay. This guy's name is Alan Watt. Okay. And I'm just going to let you hear a little bit of what he says here. And you can tell me what you think about this. All right. So let's check this out.
Now, I also mentioned too that a fellow that has been in touch with me for an awful long time, his brother was in the CIA, or is in the CIA. He will never talk about the CIA to him. He'll never give anything away whatsoever, except one bit of advice. He said, never watch the television. Never watch the television. It's the greatest scientific indoctrination tool ever devised. Haven't you figured that out? It's changed the whole culture of nations, not just one nation. Why do you think it was mandatory that everybody in Britain give access to televisions by the government? Why do you think China is under the same program to get everyone to the TV right now? Because they love to have you entertained. Do you really think that? And India is on the same route as well right now too.
And remember here, y'all, remember when they started giving out those vouchers? Remember that for the television when they were changing the signals?
Mm-hmm.
So it was so important to them to make sure we had that television. They didn't want us to lose that programming, okay?
Most of your ideas and your opinions and how you emulate, because you emulate things, you mimic what you see, as Charles Galton, Darwin, and others have said in the past. It becomes you, you become it. And that's what's happened. It's been very, very, very successful. Never watch the television. You can't watch a movie unless you do it critically. If you watch it critically, not there to enjoy it. Remember what they say, it's your emotions that get you on. And it's interwoven, all these emotional themes all through movies. You're played like a harp. And they embed ideas into you, along with the movies. And predictive programming too. So you'll accept that which is still to come. And you'll.
So some of your thoughts are not even your thoughts, because they're embedding certain ideas into you through this use of television and the movies and all of these things.
Behave the same way as the characters in the movie when it comes. Oh well, what can you do? I'll just watch much music or television. Yeah. You're given a mind of your own, and you've got to use it for yourself. And believe you me, if you ever had a nation or wanted a nation, you'd have to make sure that everyone took their turn. Everyone took their turn, just like jury duty, to go in and oversee the guys that are supposed to be taking care of everything on your behalf. It's a tight club right now. It's been like that forever, because they never intended to give you anything called democracy, or, in fact, a republic. Gangs and fraternities run the systems of the countries. That's how they're run. And under taxation, and it's true what Marx said, and it's true what Lenin said about that part of it, all wealth comes from labor. And tax is another term for labor. When they take your labor from you and give you nothing back for it, that's called stealing and slavery. Slavery, folks. But no teaching.
All right, so what do we think about this one?
I think it's true.
Yeah.
I think my son is in the music industry, and so I got a lot of friends that are in the industry, and so the whole media format is based on indoctrination and influence and desensitizing you. And so when you understand that you're being influenced by something visual, and that's why I always tell people lyrics have power.
Right.
If you don't believe that, go to a gym and put some music on and watch how the music influences your mood or your workout. So that whole notion that you can't hold somebody accountable for lyrics or visuals, it's not truthful. Everything you see is real. Everything you hear is real. How you accept it and how you allow it to influence you is the problem. Mm-hmm. But most of what we see is desensitizing us and influence the way we think, the way we see ourselves. It influences our self-esteem or lack thereof. And it influences the narrative, the things that we buy into. Right. So, this, he was spot on. I mean, It is a cult. When you the angel of music, I believe in the Bible was Michael, and that's entertainment. that is used to influence. Think about what entertainment is. You know, the whole idea of the entertainment industry is ran by what? A demonic spirit.
Mm.
Brother Tyrone, the angel of music was Satan, was Lucifer.
No, we know that Michael originally created that music. His gift was in the arts. But think about how the arts has been perverted. Everything is influenced through art.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So art is a form of entertainment. Entertainment runs the way everything is seen in the world. So that, as he was saying, if you play a visual consistently long enough, you will desensitize anybody, myself included, if we're not careful.
And like Jay-Z said, Scarface, the movie, did more to me than Scarface, the rapper. He said it influenced him more. He said Scarface, the movie, did more to me than Scarface, the rapper, did. You know what I'm saying? But they'll attack the rappers, but won't attack these films. They make these films critically acclaimed, but a guy who's coming from the hood, who's rapping about his trauma, you know what I'm saying? They saying, oh, he's the worst person because of the story he's telling. And people, we also got to be reminded, going back to Brother Tyrone, the frequencies, the vibrations that we get from these sounds. We run on frequency. People are wired on frequency.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And all of these different frequencies, these megahertz and all of those things also play a big effect in our chakras and how we move and how we think.
Our feelings, they affect and infect our mood.
And you know what, too? And you know what? I want to add to that, because if you know, whenever somebody needs to go to see a shrink, or they needs or has mental or behavior problems, they always want a peaceful and tranquil type environment to not cause the person to erupt, because they already know the person maybe has, emotional anger issues. So they want to set them into a positive mode. And so most music that you're hearing, these kids, it's not on that level. It's loud, it's upbeat, it's got a repetitive sound, and therefore that doesn't give them a chance to really stop and analyze and think about, whoa, what's really going on? They get caught up into what's being presented.
And you know what too? You have to really look at the power of music. See, the power of music can run your emotions. You can hear a song and it'll make you cry.
Yep.
Or you can listen to some music that gets you all hyped up. Okay. And the thing is that there was a Japanese scientist who did a study on water, and he would play different music around a certain glass of water or something, and then they would look at it under a microscope, and the molecules will actually change and start looking different. It's an interesting thing. You have to really look at it. And when you think of the fact that our bodies are 70% water, is something really, really to think about. But music is very powerful. That repetition, very powerful. When I hear the kids on the playground, not just in the playground, in the classrooms, they're cussing up a storm. You would think it was a Richard Pryor concert in there. That's how bad it is. With little kids. I'm talking about kindergarten on up. So, these things are very powerful, and we have to really start to look at them and see the effects on our communities. Like these guys, they rap and they say all these different things, and selfishly, they are exploiting our communities also.
Well, that's why I said they use us to destroy us.
Right.
And so don't understand how we're being pimped for pennies on a dollar. Because that's what I always tell people, at the end of the day, you're not really walking away with any kind of wealth. I've had the unfortunate privilege of being in studio settings with, I'll give you an example. I had the privilege of being in the studio years ago with Miley Cyrus when her boyfriend, she was recording the album here in Philly, and she was staying in Rittenhouse Square. And every day she walked to the studio from Rittenhouse Square to the studio on 12th, between 12th and Vine and 12th and Race.
Right.
Long story short, we had the opportunity to just really talk about how with the what the naysayers or the industry was saying about her rebellion, and trying to typecast her into being this Miley Cyrus. And so she said, you know, I had to lose myself to find myself because they tried to control my image. They tried to make me something that I'm not. And she said, and that's not real to me. At the end of the day, I was still a little kid growing up, experimenting, doing things that, you know, remove the celebrity, doing what normal kids my age do. We experiment, we do different things, but, you know, she said, you know, I've been around a lot of people who sold out in this industry, and I don't plan on being one of them. And she said, and I won't get into too many details, but she said, this is authentic as you're going to see me. So she was very real and very clear about how the industry tries to control you, and to control the narrative and control how they want people to see you, which is part of where the mental illness component comes in for a lot of the celebrities, because behind closed doors, they can't even operate in their own reality because they're living in this fantasy that they're a part of. And the industry's not allowing them to be real, but to be this image. And so that's a lot of pressure. But if you're using the artist to influence other artists or up and coming artists, you influence how they see themselves. And so what do most young Black kids want to be? Rappers, NBA players, or football. We don't even believe we can be anything else because this kind of thing, entertainment, has been so sensationalized and glamorized that we don't even realize that we're being poisoned at the same time.
Right.
That they're slowly destroying us by feeding us, by using us to promote this negative propaganda about the Black community.
Right.
But the other thing that you're touching upon too, in the biggest scope of thing, is all about profit.
Oh,
it's all about profit. It's all about making money.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about it is that is one of the most powerful things as a community Black people have is money. The little that they do have that they're spending it on, if they just stop spending it, trust and believe there would be an impact.
But see, the thing is that we are consumers of everything.
Yes.
Okay, not just the material things, but I'm talking about of ideas.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, you know, we will consume anything at the drop of a dime. You know, so you know, we just have to start observing a lot of these things that we're consuming. You know, but let's move on, because I want to you know, touch on a couple more pieces. All right, so I want you to check this one out. This is Richard Pryor on racism. Okay, Richard Pryor.
What do you think that these executives are afraid you're going to do to white America?
Probably stop some racism.
Stop racism?
Yeah, I'm probably afraid of that, because then people don't hate each other, and people start talking to each other, and then they start talking to each other, they find out who's the problem.
Which is?
Greedy people.
Greedy people. I have a couple things I want to ask you there. Do you really think that some of the guys that you dealt with at NBC, no names, right? Because there's lawsuits for that too, that some of these guys really want to promote racism actively, or is it a subconscious?
I just think it's part of capitalism, is to promote racism, you know, right? In order to make things work. If you feel better because you're white and you can get a job, you use that. I mean, you know, I would.
Absolutely.
Say, I'm sorry, Jack, but shit, they say I'm white, I'm gonna use this.
Right, absolutely.
Get this job, I'm hungry, you know. But, and that separates people. So they keep people separated, and that keeps them from thinking about the real problem. That's as simple as I see it. Probably it's not that simple, but.
Now, all right, you and I are about the same age, right? We're in our mid-30s. How long is it going to take before guys who think like you, and I say guys who think like me, people who don't want to have racism in the country, people who don't want to be oppressing any minority, whatever it is, sexual, whatever minority, really get into positions of power and can change things?
You can't get in a position of power, it seems, if you think like that. It seems that the only time you get in a position of power is if you're like the people that are in power.
True statement? Huh? Absolutely, right?
Very true.
All right.
100%.
To me, I mean, that's the way it goes.
Totally
People that get to become executives become like the people that were already executives.
I don't know, maybe
they go in with good intentions, but it eats them up. It's like a cesspool, you know. It just gets on you and it starts
the system
eating.
levels them.
Pretty soon it's all
Is that
gone.
what a cesspool sounds like?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, we'll be back right after this.
Okay.
Here's the good.
All right, so.
That's exactly
Actively or
right. The only way.
Let's see.
What happened?
All right, go ahead, good brother. You was making a statement.
Yeah, I was saying he's exactly right. The only true way that we are going to have our freedom is that we're going to have to do exactly what they did to take our freedom. We're going to have to fight back. It ain't no other way. You tell me any time in history where an oppressed person got their freedom through peaceful means. Tell me one time in history. We're going to have to fight back because they're not going to give it to us. Like Richard Pryor said, a white person is not going to want to give up that white privilege. They have white privilege and they're not going to give it up. And, you know, hell, if I was white, I wouldn't want to give it up either because it gives me an edge on somebody. But as far as we have to become united as a people. We have to understand where we come from. We have to give up the ideas that, you know, they have pushed on us so much that we don't think that a lot of us don't think that we are inventors, and we are. Just about everything in this country that we use today was invented by us, but they stole the patents, and so they push it off as theirs. And we have that mentality that we're consumers. We're not really consumers. We are inventors, and we need to get that out of our head. And we also need to understand that the only way we're gonna get our freedom is the exact same way they took our freedom. We're gonna have to fight back. That's just plain and simple.
Yeah, but
that's it.
You know what? It's interesting because, you know, in the Quran it talks about how God created man in different hues. You know, it talks about, you know, or it definitely infers that, you know, black people were the first people. Okay, a lot of the stuff they don't teach, and that's because our school system is controlled. You know, the system controls our school system. Malcolm X said, when you put when you put the education of your children in the hands of your enemy, your children will become your enemy. Now, when you really think about that, they have no real contact with their history. They're not really getting Black history, and these people don't really care to teach it to them. Okay, but the thing is that life is really about righteousness, and it's not about color, because you have good in all people, you know, and you have bad in all people. I've seen, you know, some of our people do some horrendous stuff, you know. So the thing is that it's about righteousness. The only thing that we leave here with when we leave this earth are our deeds. You know, nothing else. We can't take any of this material stuff with us, you know, but the thing is that we have to look at things in terms of righteousness, you know, and a lot of people don't look at whites as being oppressed, but they are mentally and spiritually. They don't know that Jesus was Black. Well, some of them do. I'm sorry.
Yes, they. That's a lie. Yes, they. Yes, they. That's why they perpetuate the fact that he is white, because they do know the truth. They don't want us to know the truth. We are so messed up that, you know.
Some, not all.
We look at, you know.
I would say some, not all.
I agree.
You know.
Hey, Fortune, can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Not you, Rashid.
Oh, okay.
The brother that said we need to take our freedom. He just was speaking. When you say our freedom, what's your define that for me? He's not on the screen now. There you go.
Okay. Okay.
Help me out.
You want me to freedom? Freedom is the right to live your life. It's the right to be able to live your life in, like the brother said, in righteousness. To be able to live like your Creator created you to live. That is your freedom. Not to be able, not to be afraid. What's stopping what?
You having a,
what's stopping us from
that?
What's stopping us from doing that? The color of our skin.
Okay.
Because they have perpetuated the fact that because we are dark skinned, that we are barbarians, that we are evil, that we are thugs, and that's what they teach us. That's what they show us. That's why they treat us the way they do, because way back, even when when they say Christopher Columbus, he was an evil guy, and he wrote back letters to the Queen saying that he met new people that were barbarians because he didn't understand the culture, that they didn't know nothing about.
Today. Help me out. Fast forward it to today and now.
Okay, if you keep like repetition, if you keep telling somebody that they are less than, and you keep perpetuating that for years and years and years, eventually you're going to start believing that. And unfortunately, a lot of us believe that because
the thing is, brothers, we can't allow them to control our perception. I see what
exactly.
You know, we have to, like I said, we have to teach our children, and we have to teach ourselves. You know, because we've been caught up in this stuff for a long time. Look, I don't care what these people tell me. I control my perception of myself. You know?
And I want to add to that. There's two major things I keep hearing, but I don't hear the solution to it. Unification and education. Unification and education.
Unification, education, and accountability. Add accountability to that.
Oh, yeah, sure. Because see, the thing about it is, which I just heard, you could talk to your face in blue and tell me that I'm worthless. I would never believe that, because I'm a black man, but I'm Gary Perkins first. I don't forget that I'm a black person, but I'm Gary Perkins that has certain values, righteousness, structure, that nobody can shake that tree. But what I see is community. When I go to the community level, I may be one of 100 people, and I might just stick out like a sore thumb, and everybody's looking at me like, well, what's wrong with them? And I'm saying that I don't see, or I haven't heard anything yet that talks about how do we get to that level from an educational standpoint so we can be unified. So everybody knows that, hey, you could throw at me whatever you want. And I know the answer to that is because and it's not going to change overnight, so much indoctrination has been set as far as breaking us down as a group. If you just start with the family values, breaking up families, giving structure, it's been through years and years and years. You can't captivate that back overnight. But if somebody doesn't sit down and architect a plan and say, hey, look, we see this is what the problem is. We got to build a foundation that's going to rebuild stones, that's going to build that back. And if you start that, then I believe everything else will begin to fall in play. Well, you'll see it won't just be one among hundreds. It might be hundreds among thousands, and it might be thousands among millions. And then slowly it'll begin to get a unification. But I don't hear that.
Well. The thing is that, like you said, the solution isn't something that's going to happen overnight, and a plan does have to be. You know, you have to have an architect to kind of come up with a solution to this.
Can I say one thing too, brothers? I'm sorry, Brother Rashid.
Go ahead.
The brother GP, and because I was listening, then I got knocked at the door. See, the thing is, the one thing that all of us have on this Zoom today, we've been blessed to have age. Age equals wisdom. Wisdom is life experience, things that they can't teach you in a classroom. How do you pull yourself out? How do we begin to pull ourselves out? It's exactly by doing things like this. Until you know who you are, they can tell us who we are. And if you go and talk to most brothers, and when I speak of young brothers, see, we seasoned now. But we gotta, and you know who you are because you've been through some things and some challenges in life that you had to expose yourself to you to get out of those situations. But when you're talking to these young brothers, some of these brothers, I'll be like, man, who are you? I'm a nigga. They identify themselves as a, not understanding, not even understanding where it come from.
Marion,
yeah, brother, right?
Let me help you out with something. I was hiding from the fact, like you said, age brings wisdom, right? I was hiding from the fact that, like, I had the privilege, man, of meeting Cecil B. Moore in person. I had the privilege of meeting Malcolm X. I had the privilege of seeing Martin Luther King in person. And I grew up in an area, I lived 2 doors from Pat Steaks. And when you say that, people say, South Philly? No. Pat Steaks, Pat Oliveri, was originally at Ridge and Dolphin Streets, right? Now, what I'm getting at is this. At that time, the African-American community, let me say this, let me add this also. At about 9 or 10 years old, I think I punched one of my little friends in the eye, little girl, because she called me black. Until James Brown came out with the record, Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud. So what I'm saying is it was an embarrassment to be black, but the freedom, the economic freedom that we once had in the African-American community was similar to Oklahoma,
Black Wall
Street. See, because almost every business in the Strawberry Mansion neighborhood was black owned or operated at the time. And the dollar circulated. When Mr. Saunders closed his place of business, he went to the Mansion Bar, the Patton Bar. When his brother, who had the hardware store, when he left, he did something in the neighborhood. Mr. Stubbs had the grocery store. And you know, everyone, the dollar circulated. I'm talking about economic freedom. That's what we had. Now, how about this, right? I heard a lot about what you talked about, Brother Rashid, with subliminal seduction and indoctrination. I heard a lot of that, right? But listen to this. I'm gonna say this real quick, right? How about this? On the side of a Crest toothpaste, it says, know what it says? Crest has been shown an effective decay preventive dentifrice that can be of significant value when using a conscientiously supplied program and oral hygiene and regular professional care. Subliminal seduction, riddles. Like, you ever see a brother jump out, he's riding down the street in his ride and talking about music, and he's motherfucker kick ass and bitches, ain't that radical shit. And when he jumps out the car, he looks at everybody, he slams the door and gets out like, yeah, motherfucker, yeah. You know, all those sort of things play a part. And like the brother was saying, freedom. We get our freedom starting with charity begins at home. And we get that freedom with economic independence. Share them brothers in Oklahoma City. People never knew why the Gap Band was called the Gap Band. Y'all know, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Why?
Because it was named after 3 streets.
There you go, them 3 streets. People never knew
how
that.
old I am.
But the racism didn't stop them. It's economic independence, man. That's what we need, and teaching the children about what we need.
Let me add something real quick.
Brother Wright, I'm sorry.
Not only that, we also need a reemergence of the morals and values.
There you go.
Because Because in order to run a proper business, you got to have morals and values when you think about it. I mean,
absolutely.
Think about,
but it goes right back to what I was saying. Before I can talk about my morals and values, before I can even share my dollar with you, brother, I got to know who I am. I need to know why it's important for me to go spend my dollars with you, brother, right, and not drive the King of Prussia and give it to Gucci. Because Gucci is wearing, even though they call me a nigga, I'm going to wait in that line to get in there to get these sneaks.
So let me pose this question. Let me ask the question. I feel that's point on. How do we get? What does it take to get young men to get their ear so that they can understand what value is? What's missing?
So check this out.
How they're defining their self-esteem, though. Are they defining their self-esteem to materialism, all those other things? Because if you strip all those worldly things from them and then ask them, who am I? Let's just say for me, hypothetically, who am I without all the worldly things? You start there, because a lot of self-esteem is attached to all these other false narratives that makes you believe you're something if you have those things. So
and I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. Because see, one thing that I am going to say, when I was 24, I formed my own business because I got tired of racism. I did not believe in the opportunity that the white man, after I went through all the things, having my pedigree, my college degree, my qualifications, certification, I could see the blueprint then. I'm 60-something right now. And so I'm saying that at 24, at my time, I didn't care about sneakers. I didn't care about pants. I care about understanding value.
It was a whole different time. It was a whole
hold on.
Y'all had leaders. Y'all had leaders in y'all community before y'all had Dr. King.
Exactly.
The leaders of the community now is the nigga who got the car, the jewelry, the girls, money. What can you show me? That's who we gotta be. We can't sit up here and play these games about yesteryear. The reason why you're here now is to give us the advice to move forward of knowledge of self. See, the young brothers I work with, when I'm running detention centers and I'm running around the state going to these juvenile facilities, these young brothers are yearning for guidance. But most older brothers come with and this is from them, they come with a condemning attitude towards them. Y'all never want to listen. Y'all never want to listen. Yo, we can't show you nothing. All of this and this. And guess what them young boys saying? Fuck you, old head. I ain't trying to hear that shit anyway.
But what I want to say,
let me just finish this statement. Then you're dealing with a combative, that we are the only group of people in a nation where the message can't be passed from the elder to the youth strategically through slavery to keep us separated. But then when we talk, we can't come to these brothers and tell them when I grew up, you know, I had knowledge of self as a kid and I did all of that, because these young brothers are lost.
Right, so I want to address that. because I feel you.
Hold on 1 second, bro. After you address that point, then we're going to move on, because I don't want to lose.
Because we only going to 2 o'clock, Brother Rashid, today.
You said what?
We're only going to 2 o'clock.
And just a comment, as you talk, it's not only the young brothers that we're talking about, because we are parents to both boys and girls. So I think just adding that, because of what our role is.
All right, now I want to address very briefly, because you're dead on, Marion. You're dead on, and I understand exactly what you're saying, because I myself try to surround myself around young brothers. I do. But one thing that I've learned is that I do not chastise. I try to see and try to understand, well, what do you see? What do you value? What's your direction? What are you trying to do? One of the things that is very prevalent there, it's hard to run across a young man that's in his 20s and 30s that's not been incarcerated at least once. It's sad, but it's true. So the thing about it is, as many brothers that I've talked that fit that profile, I don't immediately say like, oh, wow, you're bad, something wrong. I listen to what is lacking and what do you need and where do you want to go? And then I let them speak. And then I try to softly try to portray. I can't, you're dead on. What time, when I came through my era It's not the same now. But the basic fundamentals have not changed, meaning that you have to have value, you got to have structure, and you got to understand what the direction is by having that and what you want to accomplish.
Well, let me say this one. Let me ask this question real quick. What is the one thing that we all have in common?
Our skin color.
Because we're different. We're different tones. Okay, but what is one thing that we all something that's going to happen to all of us eventually?
We're going to die.
We're going to die, right? We're going to die. We're going to leave. We're going to leave this earth. So the thing is that we have to start teaching our children about the fact that we're not going to be here forever.
Absolutely.
We're going to leave this earth, and we have to answer to something when we leave here. You know, whether you're a Christian or a Muslim or a Jew or, you know, whatever, we have to answer for our actions and our deeds here. You know, and this is something that there's a saying in the Bible where it talks about the raising up of a child. If you raise a child in the ways of the Lord when they're younger, they'll never stray from those ways. Okay.
That's it. If he strays from those ways, he'll come back.
Right. But the thing is that we have to start teaching them about our Creator, because that's the ultimate goal in this life. Like I said, we can't take anything that we have materially here on this earth. We only leave here with our deeds, and that is so important, because when you start to instill a belief in the Creator to the children, then they'll start latching onto those morals and those values. But the thing is that, you know, a lot of people, you know, we haven't done that. You know, we allow our children to spend more time with these different forms of media that's corrupting their spirits than they do with us. And we have to teach our children, because I think the brothers on this panel, you have a belief in a higher power that helps you to, you know, maintain your righteousness, you know, and that's something that we need to pass on to the youth, to our children.
You know what? I am I'm a recovering addict, and you said something that hit home. When one of the things that helped me stay clean is that I think about the afterlife.
Exactly.
You know, I think about the afterlife, and I die high, then that means I'm gonna wake up and see my Creator high, and I don't want that to happen. So I use that to guide me. I use that to lead me, because when I start thinking about doing crazy stuff, I start thinking about what would happen if I die and I'm in this type of chaotic living. So that's what I do to keep me on track now, because and you really hit the nail on the head when you said you got to think about your afterlife, and that's what I do now. And one of the things that I am learning to do is that my sole purpose in life is to carry a message of hope and of strength. Now, once I carry that message, what you do with it, that's on you. But my job is to carry that message of hope, carry my message of strength, and to carry my experience.
It's funny, brother, to add with what you just said. One time, me and a friend of mine, we were walking down the street. So this brother, he came up to me and he, you know, asked if he could, you know, get some change or whatever. So I gave him a few dollars, right? And my friend, he was like, "Oh man, you could have gave that to me. He ain't gonna do nothing but smoke it up. And I said, no. I said, think about it. I said, you know, I'm doing as God has instructed me to do, to give in charity. With this brother, I said, if he goes and smoke it up or whatever, that's on him. Because once it leaves my hand, you know, that's on him. But I did what I was instructed to do, which was give in charity, you know. So the thing is that the more we stay in tune with our Creator, the better this life will be, you know. But moving on from there, let's go to this next thing I want to show you, because it's very important, and I want to make sure we have time to get through all of it. Okay.
And brother Rashid, we could do this too. After this one, after this video, we'll do the Q&A, and then we could call it for the day, and then we can bounce back next week.
Perfect. All right. So this one, I don't know if you saw this, but this is called A Class Divided. I just want you to see a certain clip from the classroom. Anybody see this before?
Yes.
Okay. All right. But we're going to analyze it from the classroom point of view. All right. Because I want you to see this.
In Iowa, one third-grade teacher knew she had to do something.
The shooting of Martin Luther King could not just be talked about and explained away. There was no way to explain this to little third graders in Riceville, Iowa. I knew that it was time to deal with this in a concrete way, not just talk about it, because we had talked about racism since the first day of school.
This is a fact. Blue-eyed people are better than brown-eyed people.
It was a daring experiment in prejudice.
I watched wonderful, thoughtful children turn into nasty, vicious, discriminating little third graders.
Can one teacher in one day change the lives of her students forever? Tonight, A Class Divided.
All right. So she was basically having a reunion with these children that she did this social experiment with. All right. But here we go.
Treat everyone the way you.
I'm gonna get it. Start right.
Your brother. Home, sweet home. Great Brown.
Nation.
Okay. This is a special week. Does anybody know what it is?
National Brotherhood.
National Brotherhood Week. What's brotherhood?
Be kind to your brothers. Be kind.
Okay, be kind to your brothers.
Like you would like to be treated.
Treat everyone the way you would like to be treated. Treat everyone as though he was your brother. And is there anyone in this United States that we do not treat as our brothers?
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah.
The black people. Who else?
Indians.
Absolutely, the Indians. And when many people see a black person or a yellow person or a red person, what do they think?
Oh, look at that. Dumb people.
They look at the dumb people. What else do they think sometimes? What kinds of things do they say about black people?
Call them niggers.
In the city, many places in the United States, how are black people treated? How are Indians treated? How are people who are of a different color than we are treated?
They're part of this world. They don't get anything in this world.
Why is that?
Because they're different color.
You think you know how that would feel to be judged by the color of your skin?
Yeah.
Do you think you do? No, I don't think you would know how that felt unless you had been through it, would you? It might be interesting to judge people today by the color of their eyes. Would you like to try this?
Yeah.
Sounds like fun, doesn't it? Since I'm the teacher and I have blue eyes, I think maybe the blue-eyed people should be on top the first day.
Up here?
I mean, the blue-eyed people are the better people in this room. Oh, yes, they are. Blue-eyed people are smarter than brown-eyed people.
My dad isn't that stupid.
Is your dad brown-eyed?
Yeah.
One day you came to school and you told us that he kicked you.
He did.
Do you think a blue-eyed father would kick his son? Yeah. My dad's blue-eyed. He's never kicked me. Greg's dad is blue-eyed. He's never kicked him. Rex's dad is blue-eyed. He's never kicked him. This is a fact. Blue-eyed people are better than brown-eyed people. Are you brown-eyed or blue-eyed? Blue. Why are you shaking your head? I don't know. Are you sure that you're right? Why? What makes you so sure that you're right? I don't know. The blue-eyed people get 5 extra minutes of recess, while the brown-eyed people have to stay in. The brown-eyed people do not get to use the drinking fountain. You'll have to use the paper cups. You brown-eyed people are not to play with the blue-eyed people on the playground because you are not as good as blue-eyed people. Well, the brown-eyed people in this room today are going to wear collars so that we can tell from a distance what color your eyes are. On page 127. 100? 127. Is everyone ready? Everyone but Laurie. Ready, Laurie? Brown-eyed. She's a brown-eyed. You'll begin to notice today that we spend a great deal of time waiting for brown-eyed people. The yardstick's gone. Well, okay. I don't see the yardstick, do you?
It's probably over there. Hey, Mr. Lake, you better keep that on your desk so if the brown-eyed people get out of hand.
Oh, you think if the brown-eyed people get out of hand, that would be the thing to use?
Real quick point. Look at how quick he turned on the rest of his classmates. They're all white, right? And he said, oh, you might want to get your yardstick from over there just in case some of these brown-eyed people get out of hand. You know, so very interesting.
Who goes first to lunch? The blue-eyed people. No brown-eyed people go back for seconds. Blue-eyed people may go back for seconds. Brown-eyed people do not.
Brown-eyed.
Don't you know?
Oh, they're not smart.
Is that the only reason? It might take too much. Okay, quietly.
And it seemed like when we were down on the bottom, everything bad was happening to us.
The way they treated you, you felt like you didn't even want to try to do anything.
It seemed like Mrs. Elliott was taking our best friends away from us.
What happened at recess? Were 2 of you boys fighting?
Yeah. Russell and John were.
What happened, John?
Russell called me names and I hit him in the gut.
What did he call you?
Brown eyes.
Did you call him brown eyes?
They always call us that. Craig and all of the boys call us that. They keep calling us brown eyes. They say, come here, brown eyes. And they were calling us blue eyes. I wasn't. Sandy and Donna were. Yeah.
What's wrong with being called brown eyes?
It means that we're stupider. Well, not that. Yeah. But, oh, that's just the same way as other people calling black people niggers. Yeah.
Is that the reason you hit him, John? Did it help? Did it stop him? Did it make you feel better inside?
Stop Russell.
Make you feel better inside? Did it make you feel better to call him brown eyes? Why do you suppose you call him brown eyes?
Right, because he has brown eyes.
Is that the only reason? He didn't call him brown eyes yesterday, and he had brown eyes yesterday. Didn't he?
Because we just started it. Ever since you put those blue things on there. Tease them. Kind of tease them.
Oh, is this teasing?
No. Well, he did it.
Were you doing it for fun, to be funny, or were you doing it to be mean? don't ask me. Did anyone laugh at you when you did it? I watched what had been marvelous, cooperative, wonderful, thoughtful children turn into nasty, vicious, discriminating little third graders in a space of 15 minutes. Yesterday, I told you that brown-eyed people aren't as good as blue-eyed people. That wasn't true. I lied to you yesterday. The truth is that brown-eyed people are better than blue-eyed people. Russell, where are your glasses?
I forgot them.
You forgot them. And what color are your eyes?
Blue.
Susan Ginder has brown eyes. She didn't forget her glasses.
Yeah.
Russell Ring has blue eyes, and what about his glasses?
He forgot them.
He forgot them. Yesterday we were visiting, and Greg said, "Boy, I like to hit my little sister as hard as I can. That's fun." What does that tell you about blue-eyed people?
They're naughty. In fact, they fight a lot.
The brown-eyed people may take off their collars, and each of you may put your collar on a blue-eyed person. The brown-eyed people get 5 extra minutes of recess. You blue-eyed people are not allowed to be on the playground equipment at any time. You blue-eyed people are not to play with the brown-eyed people. Brown-eyed people are better than blue-eyed people. They're smarter than blue-eyed people. And if you don't believe it, look at Brian. Do blue-eyed people know how to sit in a chair? Very sad. Very, very sad. Who can tell me what contraction should be in the first sentence? Go to the board and write it, John. Come on, let's do it again. Loosen up. Up, up, up. Come on. That's better. Now, do you know how to make a W? Okay, write the contraction for we are. Now that's beautiful writing. Is that better?
Yes.
Brown-eyed people learn fast, don't they?
Yeah.
Boy, do the brown-eyed people learn fast. Very good. Greg, what did you do with that cup? Will you please go and get that cup and put your name on it and keep it at your desk? Blue-eyed people are wasteful. Okay, you want to be timed this morning?
Yeah. A.
I use Orton Gillingham Phonics. We use the card pack. And the children, the brown-eyed children, were in the low class the first day, and it took them 5.5 minutes to get through the card pack. The second day, it took them 2.5 minutes. The only thing that had changed was the fact that now they were superior people.
I thought we were going to get in the
You went faster than I've ever had anyone go through the card pack. Why couldn't you get them yesterday?
We were doing collars on.
You think the collars kept you?
I just keep thinking about those collars.
Oh.
And my eyes kept getting rolling around.
Oh, and you couldn't think as well with the collars on.
Well,
4 minutes and 18 seconds.
I know we weren't going to make it.
How long did it take you yesterday?
3 minutes.
3 minutes. How long did it take you today?
4 minutes and 18 seconds.
What happened?
One down.
Why? What were you thinking of?
This.
I hate today.
How do you do? I hate too.
Because I'm blue-eyed.
See, I am too.
There's nothing, it's not funny, it's not fun, it's not pleasant. This is a filthy, nasty word called discrimination. We're treating people a certain way because they are different from the rest of us. Is that fair?
No.
Nothing fair about it. We didn't say this was going to be a fair day, did we?
No.
And it isn't. It's a horrid day. Okay, you ready? What did you blue people who are wearing blue collars now. Find out today.
Oh, you feel good.
I know what they felt like yesterday.
I did too.
How did they feel yesterday?
Down.
Like a dog on a leash.
Yeah.
It feels like a chain
them up
wherever you go.
into prison. Like you're chaining them up into prison. Like you're shutting up and you're throwing the key away.
Should the color of some other person's eyes have anything to do with how you treat them?
No.
All right, then should the color of their skin?
No.
Should you judge people by the color of their skin?
No.
You're going to say that today and this week and probably all the time you're in this room. You'll say, no, Mrs. Elliott.
No.
Every time.
All right, I'm gonna stop that there. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I think we all have privilege, and we use our privilege to work for us or against others. Privilege and power. I mean, I like the exercise. I'm a big fan of Jane Elliott's.
Right.
And I think that exercise is still relevant to today.
Most definitely. Most definitely. But you see that there was a group of white children. They were all white children. So this is not about color. It's about power and privilege.
Yeah.
You know. So, I mean, look at some of the things that happened when he said, the little boy said, "Oh yeah, well, you want to get the yardstick just in case some of those brown eyes get out of hand." He turned on all of his classmates, you know.
Yeah, it's also a learned behavior, something he saw somewhere.
Right. Well, he knew that because back then the teachers could hit the kids.
Absolutely.
So he knew that, you know, hey, this is a way to get those brown eyes because they were lesser than him. Just in case they get out of hand, you can use this to whoop them. So it's very interesting of how she changed their perception. You know, change their perception of themselves just by telling them, you know, the first day that blue eyes were better than the brown eyes.
Based on an indoctrination.
Right. And then look at the little girl who looked so dejected. She was absolutely dejected.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, this is not my first time seeing this video. This is actually like my third time seeing this video. Right. But each time I just really feel like, you know, it's powerful. I mean, you know, to be able to do an exercise like that with kids that small and, you know, and have them understand, you know, the impact of it is just great.
Right.
You know, but the part that I like was at the very end. Mm-hmm. The part that you know started to cut off. Oh yeah, y'all are saying this now. Y'all gonna say this tomorrow and maybe for the next week and while you're in my class.
Right.
But pretty much, is this gonna stick with you? You know, moving forward. You know, I just think that it's a powerful exercise. But you know, the biggest standout for me was when both groups did the cards and they both did worse than they did when they were not the dominant group.
Exactly.
And it was almost like, okay, you know, they just literally underperformed just because they were, you know, they were told that they weren't as good as the other group. And then it kind of, you know, relates to, you know, our minority children now. And it's like, you know, what makes us think that some of them don't think that way. You know what I mean? Right. You know, so that was real big.
But you know what was another good piece, Brother Raj, on that? Remember the little boy with the glasses?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that first day, he was one of the superior people, right? He had these glasses on. Had his glasses on. He didn't know he was going to become a superior person that day. The next day he came back in, his glasses was what? Gone.
Gone. Yep.
Because now he felt so good about himself, right? His self-esteem increased, you know?
Yeah.
So this relates exactly to dealing with racism. It's about power and privilege and not color. Because they were all white. They were all white. But when they got that power and privilege, that's when things change.
Hey, brother, excuse me.
I think
you get time, could you send me that link? Because that's something that I would like my daughter. She's 11 years old. I would like her to sit and watch that with me. Okay?
Okay.
I was curious to see how quickly the programming took in terms of just the change of the perspective so quickly. And this is my first time to see it, and it's definitely very powerful. And I just Googled and I saw that there was something else that Oprah did with her in 1992, and I'm really curious to look at that and see in terms of just how sustained it was, because I think that's a big question, and I really appreciate what you did with this in terms of moving forward and what can we do, both in terms of the education system as well as the community as a whole, in terms of really educating ourselves, both ourselves as well as our kids, because again of our role as parents and as people that are involved in the community.
Right. So I think Brother Marion, he's the timekeeper. Let's see what's going on. Go ahead, Brother Marion.
I mean, I just, because we could get ready to close this 157, but on the same token, if this doesn't show us anything else, emboldening, empowering, and infusing more confidence in our children, you see what the ramifications of it is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Listen, if you telling you were born, you got a kid who can't read, you were born to be a reader. Listen, even though you stuttered, that sounded great. Look, say that word again. You know, really emboldening them and empowering them. You can see the difference in this. It's like I'm raising my son is 11 months, but I got to make sure that for his entire life, listen, you are the best. You got to overcompensate for the confidence in our children because of how the world is. So it just shows you confidence lifts people to another level.
Right. Yep. Now, let me ask any of you brothers, are any of you brothers opposed to me putting this on my YouTube page or no?
No, you should put...
Say again?
No, you should put it on your YouTube page. I've been following Jane for a while. She's a phenomenal sociologist teacher. I believe she's a sociologist teacher. Yeah. But I've been following her for a while now. She's pretty on point for a white person.
But that's the thing. You gotta remember, it's not about color. She's a righteous person.
But color is the theme they use to distract and divide.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because 100%. To teach people how to embrace their power and privilege. But the racism is based on color and division. So when you understand that, it makes everything else a little easier.
Right.
Well, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna shut up. This is one thing. I'm glad that I'm black.
Oh yeah.
And because and the reason why I'm glad that I'm black is because I know that we're the ones that started everything.
Right.
We taught them everything. And I know where I come from. And when God blessed me with this black skin, he blessed me with the perfect skin. Right. Because I'm perfect.
And that's the feeling for everybody, because the thing is that, you know, man has been created in different hues. Man originated in Africa and then spread out, you know, and then that's when we started getting our changes in hues. So the first man was black, his wife was black. So, you know, we have nothing to be ashamed for, but it doesn't make us better than anybody else.
Shit.
You see what I'm saying? So we can't let them play a game on us with color. Yeah. You're muted.
Thank y'all so much, brothers. Brother Rashid will be back to complete the rest of this next week, and we'll look forward to it. But I thank you all for your time once again for coming to another Man Cave, brothers.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite, bro.
Thank you so much. All right, fellas. Y'all take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right.
All right.
Just wait for it.
On this thing, John.
Wait, no, you can do your name. It's nothing.